We had no mention of gooses this episode. All the things that I hated. Tea and Colton drama, goose mentioning. Thing of the past this episode.
It's all gone. Hi, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jane.
And this is Bitch and Bach.
Where we bitch about this week's happenings in Bachelor Nation, specifically this week's episodes of Bachelor in Paradise.
Welcome to week 4.
I'd like to point out, all of the men right now look super hairy. Jordan and Chris are all growing these super bad patchy beards. And you know that they have access to shaving because all of the women are freshly shaved. Also, Leo has shaved armpits, I noticed. Random tidbit. Anyway, moving on.
So we start week 4 with Jenna and Benoit, who got together at the end of last week's episode.
Last week we were really mad at Jordan because he just came across the possessive boyfriend. But this week the producers did a good job of bringing us back onto Jordan's side. Because last week we really liked Benoit.
Yeah, no, we don't like them. Then we cut to Chris and Crystal, who are still together. Chris says, quote, "Your butt is unreal." He thinks you're the strongest couple on the beach. But then Connor shows up. Connor's from Becca's season. He went home relatively early.
He was the guy that threw Lincoln's picture in the pool and broke, which is a huge safety violation.
Connor comes to the beach and he says that he came there for Crystal, and then we find out that Crystal came there to meet Connor. So Connor gets a date card and he asks Crystal, and then Crystal says no. At first, she's like, I'm pretty strong, I'm pretty okay with my feelings with Chris right now, so I think I'm gonna pass. And then about 2 minutes later, he comes back and asks her again, and then she's like, well, as long as you know where I stand, I guess I'll go.
You kind of felt bad for Chris because she was just kind of so I think I'm gonna go on a date with Connor. And Chris was like, I don't really want you to. And she was like, sorry, bye. They went on a date anyway.
And they go to this Mexican ritual situation, which felt a little exploitative of Mexican culture. The purpose of 2 white people on a reality television show.
It was uncomfortable.
But that's what they did. Then they went and they made out in the ocean a lot.
Oh, the poor man just had to watch them.
Yeah, this poor man doing the ritual was just these white people.
Whatever, these people want to pay me to do this ritual that I do, whatever. But then they came and filmed him, and the whole time they were like, ooh, what are they doing?
This is weird, what is this?
Whatever, we're gonna go right into the ocean now.
It's just an uncomfortable situation overall.
Really
this episode in general just had a lot of dates where I was like, what's going on here? And all the dates thus far have been very normal.
What do you mean all of the dates have been normal? Are you forgetting Leo and Kendall's romance novel cover?
They come back and Crystal was like, oh, I kind of like Connor. But that's really all that happened with that situation. There's really no drama. She goes on the date, they come back, it was a good time, but then she goes back to Chris anyway. So Jordan goes and talks to Jenna, and they make out, and she's like, oh, I'll go talk to Benoit. And so she goes and talks to Benoit, but then she also kisses Benoit. So Jordan goes over to the Goose Gang, and he's like, if she just told me that she's gonna go end it with Benoit, why is she now making out with Benoit? And that was that. Kenny goes home because of his daughter's dance recital. My only question is, didn't he know about it before he went on the show in general?
Kenny, you got this date on your schedule ahead of time?
Did he just know he had a dance recital to go to and then went anyway, was just hoping he'd leave before it happened? Jubilee goes home in the middle of the episode.
They got no attention!
Apparently Don's not into her anymore, which is fine, but they just kind of tell you in passing that Jubilee is gone.
If I were Caroline, I'd be pissed right now.
Camille shows up. And if you don't remember Camille, he was on Becca's season.
He was only there for an episode or 2. I didn't even remember him. No one did. But he was the guy who was awful night 1 because he got out of the limo and was relationships are about meeting each other halfway. And then she met him halfway and he was like, what about 60-40? And then he starts backing up. And everyone was like, nope. Not 60-40, not how relationships work. And Becca was like, nah, and she sent him home.
And Elise saw Camille and she was like, oh, hold it. And she was over Kenny real quick after that point.
And Elise Annalise is just desperate for any person that will give her a rose. Annalise, I want so much better for you, and Camille is way below what you deserve.
So Camille has a date card, and he asks Annalise on a date. They go on like this death trap date where they're driving in a car, and they go down this roller coaster like situation that's just like a gigantic wooden slope bridge. They just drive right down it.
My personal nightmare. I would be crying.
And it was terrible.
Which you would think Annalise, the queen of random phobias,
So would have been afraid of it.
yes, rightfully. The one thing I'd be like, yes, I understand why you're scared of that. She's like, yeah.
They could have made it into a whole bit where she was like, I'm afraid, and Camille would have been like, I'm here to save you, but none of that happened. Chelsea is sad because she has no one yet, but that's very reasonable.
Chris said a thing to her this episode that made me feel super seen as a hot single lady from Maine who often is told that she's very mom-like. And he said, a hot mom from Maine? Who wouldn't want to get with that?
Kevin and Asher get into this thing that I swear the producers must have told them to do because it didn't make any sense. Basically, Kevin goes to Asher and he's like, well, I think you should maybe try to see other people just to test out our relationship and make sure it's strong. And she was like, what? Why? And then she goes to her testimonial and is like, I don't understand why he wants me to date other people just to make sure our relationship is good.
Who would she even date?
So he says that she gets really upset, reasonably, because it made no sense. And Kevin thus far has been one of the strongest men on the show. He really has done about nothing wrong.
He's been a really solid guy. He's like the guy who everyone's always like talking to sort out their feelings. He's like the local therapist. He's Canadian. He seems really understanding. He was the one when Jordan was freaking out was like, breathe, dude, breathe. Like, he seems like a real good guy.
Until now, this whole thing happened. And I really think it was just because the producers were like, this is going too well, something needs to happen. And then Kevin was like, I'll make something up.
What if a producer went up to him and was like, do you see all of these other couples and the drama they're experiencing because of love triangles, but ultimately they're coming out stronger at the other end because the woman chose him? Astrid didn't choose you over anyone. And he was like, oh, she didn't, did she?
Jenna finally chooses Jordan. He goes over and talks to her again, and then she's like, okay, this is what I want now. And then she goes and breaks it up with Benoit. Benoit is upset and throws a football in the ocean many times. And that's the end of that. And he's over it like that. Because soon he will start thinking that he likes Chelsea and thinks that Chelsea is the love of his life. But hold on for that one.
Also, Jenna was wearing a really cute pink striped swimsuit.
Oh, she looked great.
She's a stylist.
She always looks great. Now the big drama comes in at the end because Kendall is talking to Kevin because she's like, no, Leo and Joe, I can't choose between them. And everyone else on the beach is like, choose Joe. But she's like, but Leo though, we have a connection. And Kevin's like, but like he kissed Chelsea afterwards. And she's like, he did what? Because she's the only person on the beach who didn't know that he kissed Chelsea right after he went on a date with Kendall. So Kevin is the snitch.
He didn't even mean to snitch. It wasn't like he was like, did you know he kissed Chelsea? He was just like, you should maybe think about this. And he was kissing Chelsea. And she was like, wait, stop. What did you just say? We all thought she knew because everyone knew. And I don't think he really went through great pains to hide it. He just didn't tell her.
Kendall goes and talks to Leo, and she's like, well, why did you go kiss Chelsea afterwards? And he was like, well, kissing's not really a big deal. It's just, like a general gesture, like there's nothing there. And she was like, well, there's a big difference between hanging out with someone and making out with them, and you know that. And he gets pissed. And then goes over to the pool and starts doing this whole little bit. He's making a fool out of everyone. And he's like, I need to snitch. I need to find a snitch. It's really obnoxious and everyone's mad at him. He starts to blame Kendall. He's like, oh, well, you didn't tell me about Joe. And she was like, yes, I did.
Like the first thing she told him about herself was like, how's it going for you at Paradise? And she went, great, I'm dating Joe.
Leo goes and talks to Kevin and accuses Kevin. And then Kevin's like, what are you talking about? You're the one who just went and kissed a girl after you just went on a date with someone else and were like, I like this girl, I want to be with this one person. Leo keeps yelling at Kevin.
Kevin did nothing wrong in this situation.
Like, you're the one causing the problem. Kendall and Leo go and have another conversation on the daybed.
It's confusing. There's too many hard K sounding names. There's Kevin, there's Kendall, there's Crystal, there's Chris.
Leo and Kendall go and have another conversation on the daybed. Then Leo starts completely blaming Kendall and just saying like, my number one priority is making you happy. And she's like, you want to make me happy, but you're blaming me for you going and kissing someone else. And he like completely lashes out, and it's ridiculous. That's how we end the first episode.
I suspected before this whole thing that Kendall wouldn't have cared if Leo kissed Chelsea. I think Kendall kind of thinks the early stages of paradise, it's okay for everyone to be kissing everyone. I don't think she would have cared. I think the thing that bothered her was that he lied about it and that he like covered it up. And when he was like calling her on, well, you also were kissing Joe, she was like, yeah, I was open about it. She later said when he was like when he was lashing out and yelling at her about it, she said, well, to be honest, right now you're showing the early signs of cheating behavior, which is just like a red flag for a relationship down the line. I was like, oh, you understand these things. It made her seem really smart that she like can spot the early warnings of cheating behavior. Like, good for you. Can you protect us all in the future?
At the end of this episode, with all of the guys sitting around, one of them says something about having to move with cheese. Like, you're a mouse and you gotta move to where the cheese is. And then all of the men about how they're all different types of cheese.
Comment below, what type of cheese would you date or marry? I feel like I would date like a 5-cheese mix or like a Mexican mix. I have like an affair with that, but I would marry Parmesan.
I think I would definitely solidly date a brie.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice and sweet. I would marry a Gouda.
Ooh. See, you went like real like highbrow cheeses. I was like, yeah, the one that you buy in the section of the grocery store that I can just sprinkle on my pizza. Like, I'll marry him.
On to episode 2. Episode opened with Jordan talking about how he has a briefcase full of passion. Honestly, don't really remember the context other than they're all sitting around the bar, and somehow it comes up that Jordan has a briefcase and someone asks him what's in the briefcase and he says passion. And then he starts comparing all of the other guys to different forms of luggage. He says that Colton would be a nice duffel bag.
I didn't quite understand the metaphor. Yeah. I still don't really, to be honest.
Okay, so the real action starts when Benoit and Chelsea kiss. So the thing is that Chelsea is the only one on the island right now that doesn't have a significant other. She's the only one with a rose left because the girls have roses this week. All of the 4 men who are not in a relationship decide that they're definitely in love with Chelsea right now, but they haven't paid attention to her at all before this moment.
We've never seen Benoit and Chelsea interact at all, and yet he says, it's obvious Chelsea and me were meant to be together. What, Benoit?
And about 10 minutes ago, he was real into Jenna and was really upset when Jordan took her away from him. And now he thinks that him and Chelsea are soulmates. All I can say about that is that he definitely just wants the rose.
Yeah, he wants to stay on this island for some unknown reason.
Eric gets a date card and takes Angela because they've been together the whole time, even though we haven't seen them once. They go to a hotel, and you think that it's going to be this nice spa day, but actually they just sit in the hotel room in robes and eat cheese.
My favorite was the lady that led them to the room who was just super deadpan, but was like throwing flower petals on the floor really hard. And they're just behind her like, ooh, where are we going? What's this lady's story? She hates her job. She hates that they made her go on this show.
Yeah, their date goes really well, and they're super into each other, and they're like, all right, this is it. We are together. So that's how that ends. And at the same time, Kevin and Astrid have a date on the beach because they haven't had a real date yet. Kevin built this cute little TV set out of sticks and then puts it on a rock. Clearly, someone on the production team made that. Kevin did not have like a hammer and nails and just make a TV set out of sticks. But he puts it on a rock in front of the sunset, and him and Astrid just lay there on the beach and they watch the sunset and then they make out. That's what happens there.
If I were on Paradise, I would date Kevin.
Yeah, him and John, like Joe. Those are the only ones left that I'll be, oh, like, okay. Yeah, okay. The rest of them,
can we bring back Wills?
Gone too soon. R.I.P. in peace.
I'd like to point out,
Crystal and Chris do yoga. At this point, Crystal is like, no more Connor, even though we never see that happen. All of a sudden, Chris is just like, I want to prove it to Crystal that I want to be with her. So he asks her to help him do yoga. And they do. They do yoga, and Crystal says that Chris is not a yogi. He says that he loves that she is nurturing. Really just just another way of saying that he wants a woman to take care of her without him really putting in much effort, which is basically what's happening right now. They do some down dog, they do some stretches. It's really just quite unsettling. And that is what we're left with.
It's nice of him to take interest in her interests.
Yeah, she's a personal trainer, to clarify that. That's that on that. John talks to Kendall on the daybed, and then they kiss.
Oh yeah!
Which is just out of nowhere. Like, after this whole Leo thing happens, she's like, Joe. And Joe very much comforts her and is very nice to her. And then she goes on the daybed and kisses John, because that was the end of that. That never happened again. Yeah. Nothing ever comes to be of that.
It was nice though that Kendall immediately went to Joe and was like, I kissed John. Joe was like, you stop hanging out with other men. But like, then they moved on and he was fine.
Yeah, and then they're like, we are definitely in a relationship now. So Kendall and Joe are together. Joe is really, really all in for Kendall.
And willing to like chase down Leo for her.
They go to the cocktail party and Leo toasts to Kendall and says that she is full of shit, which doesn't make sense. Once again, he's like referencing their previous conversation where he says something along the lines of like, she didn't really enjoy the date and that she was lying this whole time about everything. So he says that. He's like, good luck with grocery store, bitch. And Joe's like, what? Poor little sweet Joe. Leo like storms off, so Joe goes to follow him like the great man that he is. He follows Leo, and then Leo like throws a drink in Joe's face and tries to fight him, and then the production team are like, whoa, hold up, and then they like stop filming and then they go and control the situation. But Leo goes home, so
bye. Miss Jane doesn't like that Tarzan.
A bunch of random stuff then happens. Colton says that he knows that Tia is missing home a little bit. She's from Weiner, Arkansas. So he brings her a full plate of hot dogs.
Because last week Kevin and Astrid were eating sausage and
yeah,
craft services just had a lot of
I don't know,
wieners.
But there was an entire plate full of hot dogs. How are you even possibly going to eat all of those?
Do you remember how we met Tia on Ari's season? She gave Ari a little model wiener. Like, it's a little wiener because I'm from Weiner. I hope you don't already have a little wiener. And Ari was like, I don't! It went right over his head and she was like, oh, okay. We should have known then that Tia's great and Ari is an idiot.
Now that Tia and Colton are no longer being annoying, I really like them. And they're being very charming and cute and providing great commentary on the side. Jordan is falling in love with Jenna.
He's been doing that since the second he laid eyes on her.
Yeah, we kind of knew that. John and Chelsea are a thing because once again, all of the men are going after Chelsea just to get her rose, and it's a little annoying. But at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe John and Chelsea, he seems to be legitimately kind of interested, and she's definitely interested in him. That does not last long.
I feel like Chelsea doesn't give out her roses based on who she's romantically interested in. She's a mom, and maybe she's being like the mom of the group, and she just kind of keeps an eye out for like, oh, that guy I think is kind of nice, and no one is going to give him a rose, so I will.
Tia provides this great commentary where she's like, Connor's a douchebag. And then she just goes on this whole thing about how Connor is a douchebag, and she starts like making fun of him. It's really cute and funny.
When he first came on, the women were like talking about how hot he is. But honestly, I don't like the way he looks. I think his hair is bad. I think he looks fake. So thank you, Tia, for knocking him down a peg.
Then we go to the rose ceremony. And here are the predictable couples in order. Crystal and Chris, Kendall and Joe, Colton and Tia, Jenna and Jordan, Kevin and Astrid, Camille and Annalise, Eric and Angela, and Chelsea, and John. She chooses John, and then Benoit is really upset. He like has a temper tantrum fit. He starts crying, and all of us were like, we were interested in her about 30 seconds ago, and never before that. Goodbye to David, Benoit, and Connor, who we will not miss. Then we transition to the next day. And Olivia comes on. She comes in and asks John on a date.
Well, first, she asked Joe, and Joe said, no, I'm with Kendall. And then I think she asked Colton, and Colton said, no, I'm with Tia. And then she got her third choice, John.
He's the only one who's not in a relationship. Yeah. So they go on this date. They're just at a quinceañera. They like show up, and then they walk onto some stage, and this whole Mexican family is watching them. And they're like, well, who are these people? It's just this camera crew at a girl's quinceañera in Mexico. And they're just like, we're on our first date. The whole family's like,
why are you here?
And then they dance. So they dance and they have like a good time, but I still like couldn't get over the fact that they were just at some random girl's quinceañera and that was a date. That was considered a date. The Bachelor franchise went up to a family and was like, can we send a couple here on a date to your daughter's quinceañera? And someone had to say yes.
She was either thrilled that her quinceañera was on TV or she was horrified that she had her quinceañera. Like, it'll only happen once in her whole life, and the whole attention was focused on these random two people from America just on a date.
I just want to know why. Oh, and the last person that shows up is Cassandra, who is from Juan Pablo's season, which was 5 years ago. She asks Eric, who is happily in a relationship with Angela. He says yes. Angela freaks out, obviously, for good reason, and that's how the episode ends.
Well, that was it. We just saved you 4 hours of television.
The next week we will save you 5 hours.
Too much. There's so much we could be doing with our lives. Doesn't need to be that much.
Well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.